Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that many of you might know, but we're going to look at it from a slightly different angle. We read talking about the famous decree from Caesar Augustus that sent a certain young couple on a long journey to Bethlehem. But what was this decree really all about? Was it just a census, or was there more to it? Let's unpack the history behind one of the most consequential administrative orders ever issued. First, let's set the stage. We're in the late 1st century BCE. The Roman Republic has been torn apart by decades of civil war. Out of the chaos emerges a single, powerful figure, Octavian, the adopted son of Julius Caesar. By 27 BCE, he's given the title Augustus by the Senate, and he becomes the first Roman emperor, ushering in an era of relative peace known as the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. But peace isn't cheap. Augustus inherited a vast, sprawling empire that was an administrative mess, to govern effectively, to fund his massive army, and to finance his ambitious public works projects like roads, aqueducts, and temples. He needed one thing above all: money. And how do you get money? You guessed it, taxes! This brings us to the core of the issue. To tax people fairly and efficiently, you first need to know who they are, where they live, and what they own. This is where the concept of a census comes in. The Roman census wasn't a new idea. It had been a cornerstone of the Roman Republic for centuries. But under Augustus, it was supercharged. He initiated a series of censuses and property registrations across the entire empire, a monumental undertaking that had never been done on this scale before. The goal was twofold. First, to create a comprehensive register of Roman citizens and their wealth for taxation purposes. Second, it was about control. By counting and classifying the population, Rome was asserting its authority over its diverse and far-flung territories. This wasn't just about counting heads, it was about integrating every corner of the empire into a single, centrally administered system. Now, let's talk about the province of Judea, the setting for the biblical story of Jesus' birth. The historical details here can get a little tricky for scholars. The Gospel of Luke mentions a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered, and states this happened when Quirinius was governor of Syria. This registration required Joseph and Mary to travel from their home in Nazareth to Bethlehem, the town of their ancestral lineage, to be enrolled. Historians have debated the exact timing of this. The main Roman census of Judea under Quirinius is generally dated to around 6 or 07 CE, after Judea was made a formal Roman province. This is a bit later than the traditional date for Jesus' birth. However, there could have been earlier localized registrations. It's possible that local client kings like Herod the Great were required by Augustus to conduct their own censuses in line with Roman policy. Roman administration was often pragmatic, using existing local structures to achieve its goals, so requiring people to return to their ancestral homes for registration might have been a way to manage the process using local customs and tribal affiliations. Imagine the logistics of this. There were no emails, no phones, no internet. This decree would have been communicated through official channels, read aloud in public squares. For millions of people across the empire, it meant disruption. It meant stopping your work, packing your bags, and undertaking what could be a long and difficult journey. For Joseph and Mary, this meant a trek of about 90 miles from Nazareth to Bethlehem. That's a multi-day journey on foot or by donkey through hilly terrain. So, while the decree from Caesar Augustus might seem like a simple piece of bureaucratic paperwork, its impact was profound. It was a powerful symbol of Roman imperial power and administrative reach. It was a tool for consolidating control and, most importantly, for financing the empire. For countless individuals, it was a major life event, forcing them to travel and comply with the will of a distant emperor. And for one family in particular, this imperial decree set in motion a journey that would change the course of history. It's a fascinating example of how the grand, sweeping decisions of emperors and empires can have very real, very personal consequences for ordinary people. A simple need for tax revenue led to a massive, empire-wide registration that inadvertently became a key part of a story cherished by billions. What do you think? It's amazing how a dry administrative task can have such a huge ripple effect through history. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time!